For a time, we tried to contact him by radio, but no response.
Welcome everybody to your favorite Saturday bunch. Thanks for tuning in and rocking with your dumb marks here on this beautiful but rather cold Saturday morning in Pittsburgh, PA. Gentlemen, how are you doing? How was your week? What episode are we on? 21?
22.
Oh, 22. Last week we were legally able to drink, and now we're gonna go head first into that with the drink of the week segment later on. After that. But gentlemen, how was your week? How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? We good?
I'm doing good. I got a little story for everybody.
Yeah.
So we came back from overnight from our work shift, and there's a toy vendor at work, and he loves the heck out of me and Jason for some reason. I don't know why, but he does. And he always gets our names wrong for everybody. But but I was in the kids section, and I seen him from a distance from the toys. And I was like, oh, he's here. I was like, so I'm going to hide out in baby and all that stuff, and he's not going to notice me. Next thing you know, around the corner, he pops up, and it was like, whoa, hey, Donald, how's it going? How's everything going? We're like, oh, it's going good. He was like, I haven't seen you guys since you went overnight because of COVID. And I was like, yeah, it's been a long time. And he was like, yeah, I was telling everybody like how you and Jason were doing and all that stuff. And he was like, you guys miss me and all that. And he was like, I missed you guys. And I was like, yeah, it's been a long time. And he was like, but did you ask about me at all or anything? And I was like, no, not really. He had like the saddest look on his face, but then he smiled up again and was like, oh, okay. He was like, well, that's awesome too. And everything. He was like,
his spirit.
It did. So he was like, well, Joe told me you was over here. And I was like, oh, Joe, I'm going to get you. And he was like, do you know where Jason is? I was like, yeah, he's on the other side of the store. So you could go check him out. So, yeah, I had to throw Jason under the bus just to get him away from me.
You're pissed at Joe that you threw your partner in crime under the bus.
Yeah, because I got thrown under the bus.
Hey, when the ship goes down, the captain stays on the ship. If one of us is going down, you damn sure better bet that I'm taking the rest of you with me. This is all there is to it. This isn't last man standing. All right, we're all going down. So,
yeah, he was like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Those new earrings? I was like, no, but it's been like a whole year, so they're new to him. I'm like, my mom don't even notice these things. Like, what the?
He does. He noticed.
He's like, something looks different. I'm like, I'm not wearing my hat. Oh yeah, that's right.
I need to find me a woman that'll look at me just like that guy looks at you guys.
Yeah, the toy vendor looks at you. I mean, well, I've been married for 10 years, so I don't get that. That's off the table. So, but everybody preparing for the snowstorm that's set to hit the Northeast overnight tonight and tomorrow morning. About 3 to 6 inches of snow supposedly here in Pittsburgh area. So
Hopefully, yeah.
Hoping they'll knock the internet out so we can watch the Rumble.
Yeah. We'll keep our fingers crossed for that. So, all right, let's get into
is that what they're calling for now? Because last I had heard they were talking maybe like 2 inches on Sunday, 2 inches on Monday. But
when I got in the car this morning, Chris, to drive over to your house to pick up the stuff for a drink of the week, they said 3 to 6 overnight tonight. So it's been changing every single day. So who knows? Okay. I mean, might wake up to a dusting. We might make up to 10 to 12 inches. Who knows? All right, let's hop into the shits and giggles like we normally do in the intro here. Go through our stuff with what caught our eye in the realm of TV, movies, snacks, and whatever else you guys want to discuss this week. Whoever wants to go first can pop it off, and then we'll go from there.
I got 3 gaming news things that happened this week. Konami, the game developer from Japan that makes Castlevania and Metal Gear and all that, they actually shut down their developing studios. So they're not going to develop games anymore. they're just going to license their games out to other video game developers to make them for them. So they're officially out of the gaming department. Over in the UK, the scalpers, they actually got access to PS5s in their retail thing before they were even released. So somehow they got into the retailer's website and purchased them all before they were released to the public.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And then just happened yesterday. They said that the stock of PS5 and Xboxes, they might not be fully coming into stores until August now. Everybody was expecting spring, but August, because there's something with the GPU cards that they're so technical to make that they can't get everybody back in the factory because of COVID. So it looks like you're going to wait a little bit longer for the systems to come full force in stores.
That's just their way of keeping the price where it was at, so they can sell it at that extra extra high price that they do come around for Christmas next year. But to follow up on your gaming news, this is some news that'll tie into shows that we watch. So coming in this year in 2021 on Netflix, Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. So Netflix original has an anime series, Resident Evil, for those of you that have played the video game. I'm kind of actually excited to watch this and see how it turns out. I think that's a good choice if they're gonna pursue that type of route with an anime show original series. So we'll see if that holds true to form with Netflix, and it's a good one to stick and watch. Speaking of watching stuff, again, we won't do spoilers on this show, but I assume everybody watched WandaVision last night.
Yes.
Came out.
No, Jason didn't.
I gotta catch it after this.
So good. So good.
I love everything that they're doing with the show. How they're doing it. This episode was fantastic and really got me to go all in. I was hooked before, but now I'm definitely all in.
This one definitely made me think like this is a part of the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then a couple other things on Disney Plus wise that I saw this week. In February, obviously WandaVision will continue, but the Muppet Show will be on Disney Plus.
The original.
Yeah. Yep, the original Muppet Show, February 19th, all 5 seasons. So I watched the Muppets growing up, and I will definitely have me and my daughter will tune in for that one. And then the other thing that I saw for Disney Plus, which I'm excited for because I like the movies, was Monsters. So Monsters at Work on Disney Plus series. It's going to be a true sequel to Monsters, Inc., and Billy Crystal will be involved as the voice and character of Mike Mizawa.
Did they say like what this is going to be? Is this going to be because like they did the sequel, but that was like a prequel, and then
so it just says that it's an animated continuation of Monsters, Inc. It's been known that the series has been on the way for a while now, and Disney CEO Bob Iger first announced the project back in 2017. Billy Crystal confirmed that it is indeed an episodic program, that he'll be back as Mike, with John Goodman also returning as Sully.
That's good.
So I'm excited for that. They got both of them on board with it. I think it'll be good.
Need to catch up and see what's going on with Boo.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we'll finally get that storyline play out. But yeah, so just a couple of things from Disney Plus and that I saw this week as far as what's set to upcome that's not Marvel or comic related show.
This week, they also for Disney Plus as well. They announced Mighty Ducks is going to premiere on March 26th. So they released the official trailer, the little teaser, and
yeah, we will. Go see the trailer. We won't get into it yet, but I don't know if I can buy in given how I saw the trailer set up and what what it's going to be. The shoe on the other foot, for those of you that watched the original Mighty Ducks movie, you'll understand what that means. So, but yeah, we do have the Gordon Bombay and the Flying V will be back in our lives sooner rather than later. That's all for TV and shows on my end. One other thing that I wanted to bring up as far as snacks goes, Betty Crocker is now going to start selling Dunkaroos icing.
I had that on my list too.
So if you're a fan of Dunkaroos, and most people that like Dunkaroos obviously like it because of the icing, you will now be able to go and buy strictly the icing from your local grocery store, and you can put that shit on just about anything, and it'll be delicious. Yeah, that's all I got from that aspect of things.
So this week I tried. We had previously talked about Turner's Dairy here in Pittsburgh. They were releasing a collaboration milk with Oakmont Bakery called the Oakmonter milk. I found that this week. It was released. It was really good, but didn't really taste anything different than chocolate milk. Maybe just like a little bit creamier, but So if you like chocolate milk, you want to try it. It's good. Doesn't taste anything bad. It just tastes like chocolate milk. One thing that I am getting excited for, I heard it's available at Walmart already, so I might have to do a Walmart run soon, is Nestle's releasing a Cinnamon Toast Crunch milk. And I'm all about Cinnamon Toast Crunch, so I need to give that a try. I might need to make a drink with that, mix some rum chata in there, and boom, you're good to go.
You're getting loose with the chocolate milk.
And then probably the weirdest thing I found this week for snacks is for Valentine's Day, Kraft is coming out with a pink mac and cheese.
Nope.
It's called Kraft Candy Mac and Cheese. So it's going to be pink and sweet.
Nope, hard pass. I don't need my macaroni and cheese to taste like the box of chalk hearts. Like, nah, I'll pass.
Kraft mac and cheese is trash anyway. No adult eating that.
No.
You know, mixing that Easy Mac up in the microwave.
Oh hell
no! Hey, Easy Mac got me through my first year of college, so I'm not gonna completely shit on Easy Mac. Will I eat it now? Absolutely not. But back then, it was like, yo, I got Easy Mac in the dorm room. It's a day. It is a day. So, if nobody else got anything else, we can hop into our pick 3 here for the intro before we jump into the rest of the show.
Yeah, I'll do pick 3. 2 quick things though. HBO Max released this week that Justice League, the Snyder's Cut, is going to come out on March 18th.
4 hours. You gonna have 4 hours to sit down and watch Justice League?
Not that. No, maybe an hour at a time.
I'm scheduling out some time.
I don't know. I don't know how adding additional time onto that movie will make that movie any better than the trash that it was whenever it was released. So. Yeah. I'm going to wait to see what people have to say about it before I attempt to sit down for 4 hours and watch that.
Yeah, that's a good call. And then just one other one. History Channel announced this week that Tim Allen and Richard Karn are getting back together. They're kind of doing like a home improvement reunion in a way, but it's going to be for a reality competition where people are going to make stuff and I guess they're going to judge it. But they're going to be on the set of Tool Time like as they do it. So kind of interesting.
I'll pass on that too. If Wilson's not behind the fence, I don't need to see it. So.
Wilson ain't coming back. So,
yeah, I know.
Unfortunately.
And then since unfortunately, there were some big names in the world of I guess film that passed away this week. Cloris Leachman passed away. She was, I believe, 94.
Yeah.
And then. Why am I blanking on the other?
Cicely Tyson, 97. Cicely Tyson.
I couldn't think of the last name. Yeah. Also, so 2, iconic individuals that lived full lives, 90, 94, 96, 97.
And both who had pretty much worked up to the end of their career too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cicely Tyson won a Tony back in like 2013. So, you know what I mean? Like,
the crazy thing was she was on what do they call it? Live with Kelly Ripa. She was on there yesterday. She had pre-taped the interview, so she had died, and then the next day she was on TV.
Yeah. So
it's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, not to end the intro on a somber note, let's jump into this pick 3 here. Little interesting one for you guys to play along with this week, and we will be focusing in on kids' movies that came out back in the day when we were younger.
This is our childhood.
This is definitely our childhood here. So we have Sandlot, Little Rascals, Blank Check, Holes, Air Bud, Mighty Ducks, Little Giants, Space Jam, Richie Rich, My Girl, Home Alone, and Matilda. So, gentlemen, you can pick 3. We'll start from bottom up. Jason, what 3 are you picking?
Look, I'm going. This was tough in the beginning, but I made some eliminations. So I'm gonna go Sandlot. I'm gonna go Little Giants and Space Jam. Mighty Ducks was on there, but
sticking with the sports theme.
Yeah, always. Mighty Ducks was on there, but I tossed that. And then My Girl, if I watch that today, I'm gonna cry. So I gotta kick that off.
I actually thought My Girl was gonna be on your list because I thought you like that.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. It's gonna make me cry and be on my top list. This ain't one for me.
Yeah. If I'm gonna go kids movies that made me cry, Land Before Time, My Girl, those 2, Bambi, those will probably be the 3 that I would pick. If I'm gonna do kids movies that made me cry.
I don't know if I ever saw that one, Jason.
Oh, it's rough.
All right, Chris, what do you got? Pick 3.
All right, I'm going Home Alone, Mighty Ducks, and The Sandlot. And I went back and forth on a couple, but just like I especially wanted to put Little Giants on there. Like that's one of my favorites too. And I love Blank Check, and I love Little Rascals too. But it's just like for quote, I went, okay, which movie's better? Like I started comparing. I was like, those 3, those are movies like those 3 I could watch anytime. Really, any of those things. But
look, Becky the Icebox is why I love women's sports.
Little Giants is a great movie.
For me, Sandlot, because I was a baseball player when I was younger, so that's automatic on the board. Little Giants, because I was a football player again, and the Mighty Ducks. I went straight sports theme for sure. Home Alone was number 4 because I don't need to see Home Alone like every single year. So
this would have been way easier if it would have said get rid of 3 because I would have got rid of Holes, Air Bud, and Matilda. Those would have been the 3 to get off the list. But as far as picking 3 and keeping 3, I struggle with this so much this week. Blank Check and Richie Rich are 2 highly underrated movies. When we were growing up that were awesome. Richie Rich, that's one of the reasons why if I ever get money, I'm going to put a Rita's ice machine in my house. Because we walk in and get McDonald's right there. I'm going to do that with Rita's ice and make gelatos all day long.
Jason would do the McDonald's just like Richie Rich.
Yeah. So we got Vic here shouting out Little Giant, Sandlot, and Home Alone. Holes is a sleeper. You know what? I've never actually seen Holes, so I can't comment too much on that. But because
I actually just watched Holes for the first time whenever Disney Plus came out.
It's not bad.
No, it's not bad.
So back to my pick 3. I'm going to go with Sandlot. I'm going to go with Little Giants. And I'm going to go with the Flying V and keep the Mighty Ducks. So those will be my pick 3. Anybody else out there, you guys tuning in, feel free to, as we go through the show, give us your shout outs to pick 3 and stay tuned to the end of the episode because we will definitely get into what is now the world famous and world renowned and most viewed One Gotta Go. We will be playing that at the end of the show, which we will do every week until we run out of questions.
We buy an expansion pack.
I think I have 2 or 3 packs total, so we might be good for a bit.
All right, so stay tuned for that at the end of the show, and with that, let's get into it.
All right, gentlemen, welcome to Bell to Bell. Another busy week in wrestling. Just a reminder, though, last night we went live and did our Royal Rumble predictions. So if you want to check out what we had to say about Raw, SmackDown, the upcoming Royal Rumble this weekend, go back on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and you can watch that on demand whenever you'd like. But as for some of the stuff that we didn't cover this week, I think probably the biggest news coming out of the week was that starting March 18th, the WWE Network is going to be moving to Peacock in the United States.
Yes, sir. That was the big uproar and had everybody talking until everything happened with Robin Hood during the week. So, what do you guys' thoughts, feelings, issues, concerns?
So now, will this still be a network?
It'll be on Peacock.
Just all on Peacock. So once March 18th, you won't go to the WWE app for anything in the network.
You'll go to Peacock and
say that again, Jason.
What will other countries do?
They'll still have the network.
Okay,
it was just
together, or
it was just a U.S. based deal.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Just like in Canada, they have theirs as like the way they wanted it originally. Whenever the network launched, Canada got it that way, where it's a TV show on their cable, and then they can have all access to everything else on demand.
Also, it'll play like the schedule does on the app itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think if you I get Peacock through Comcast. So whether or not I will get everything once the network moves over, I'm not sure how that's going to work, or if I'm actually going to have to sign up for Peacock separately and pay I believe if you get the $4.99 deal, which was half the price of what the network is now, you get access to everything on Peacock and everything that's on the network itself.
So the way that you get with that, so Peacock has 3 levels. They have the free level, they have a $4.99, and then they have a $9.99. If you get the free level, you just have minimal access to things. If you have the $4.99, which is what Comcast gives us for free, is what they call Peacock Premium. So you get access to everything. You have like ads or commercials mixed in with stuff. And then if you pay the $9.99 a month, it's the same thing as premium. You just don't get ads or commercials. It's all ad free.
Now, is this just a deal for a select amount of time?
5 years.
5-year deal.
5 years.
No, I mean like say through Comcast, you and Peacock.
I don't know what the arrangement is with Comcast and Peacock.
I thought they were going to start charging you after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, they haven't said that. Right now, they've just said that's included if you're a Comcast because it's
the same company.
It's their company.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to work out with the ads. Like I don't
mind. Yeah.
Just don't put ads on during live pay-per-views, and I'm okay. That's all. It would be no different than going back and watching an old WrestleMania or old Royal Rumble and getting an ad pop up, just like I'm watching something on YouTube where I get an ad and can skip them and keep watching the show. So yeah, I mean it'll be interesting. I know like beginning of the week everybody had their panties in a bunch and got all riled up because they were worried about stuff going away and not being able to access
keep the network every other weekend.
Yeah, well, I mean, like people gotta actually open the articles and read them. They're just going off of the headlines, and they see the net. Peacock will be the streaming provider for the network moving forward, and people get all riled up, but they don't actually open up the articles and read them to see how the deal works out and what's actually involved with it. Now there'll be more information released in the meantime. They mentioned that on the broadcast on Raw this week that more info will be released prior to the move over, but it should be a streamless move to anybody that has the network account and all that will get moved over, and you shouldn't have any issues. But we'll see when March 18th comes if anything happens and causes it to go to shit.
So March 18th is the move. That Sunday, March 21st, is Fastlane. So it'll be interesting to see, that short amount of time, if they'll be able to pull off, a decent stream. Peacock streams live sports already, so they should have the capability.
Now, do you think this is leading to Vince looking at Dana White and seeing the model that Dana White has with ESPN Plus, to where you sign up, you pay the subscription, but yet you still have to purchase the pay-per-view?
I think so.
Vince is going with this to where, hey, you're paying your $4.99 or $9.99, but guess what? You're still gonna have to, if you want to watch WrestleMania, you're gonna have to cough up $70.
Yeah. I think for the big four, it will happen with them for sure. But I think for the lower tier pay-per-views, I don't think that much. But the big four, definitely.
I think 2021 we're going to be fine. Like, I don't think any changes are going to come this year, but I think possibly next year that there could be some changes.
That'll be interesting whenever we get time for that and that change comes, to see how that actually affects. I mean, WrestleMania probably is safe to say that if people are going to spend money on one pay-per-view a year, if we have to go back to purchasing pay-per-views, then that'll be the one people will cough up money for.
Mm-hmm.
I just, after getting everything for $10 a month for how many years now, I don't see people wanting to continue to pay that $10 and then drop another, say, $200, $220 total on 4 or 5 pay-per-views throughout the year.
Yeah.
When, given how things are in the times. It is interesting that this deal was struck now. Don't know how long it's been in the works, but the fact that they are doing it and they're moving, like I said, I think Vince looked at Dana White. I know ESPN is upset with this move because they were in talks with WWE for the network for the streaming rights. So yeah, I don't know what's going to transpire.
This has been in the works for at least a year, if not more. Because last year at this time, whenever I was listening into one of their Q1 stockholder calls, they were saying last year during Q1 they were expecting to make this announcement. So here we are a year later that it actually happened. I think they were trying to put it in place last year for WrestleMania, but at the same time, I think last year the player was ESPN Plus, because that was a rumor for a while, and Peacock wasn't even launched at that time. So
right.
I guess in the end it worked out the best for them, to hold off on making an announcement. The interesting thing that I kind of see out of this is the viewership, to see how that changes. At its peak, the WWE Network had 1.6 million subscribers, and usually that's like around WrestleMania time. That's when WWE usually touts those numbers, because people usually sign up for WrestleMania each year.
Right.
Right now, Peacock has 33 million subscribers. That's a big difference. That's a lot more eyes that could be on your product.
Yeah, true.
Not everybody that has Peacock is going to be a WWE fan, but maybe they used to be a casual fan.
Here's the flip side to that coin. Rumor that I saw this week is that NXT will now move off of USA and be on Peacock.
Okay.
Ratings wise, we saw this when the Premier League, went off of went on to Peacock off of NBC Sports Network. That hurt them as far as ratings go. Hockey hasn't done really well. So do you think, with the ratings being what they are for USA, for Netflix, or for NXT, if you have to go into Peacock to watch NXT on Wednesday nights, is that going to hurt them more?
There might be a lot of people like me just logging onto an app is just like time consuming. It's just like, let me just flick the channel and be there, instead of having to power up app, search for something. Nah. I'll watch, but
yeah, I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but that's the rumor, is that NXT will at some point move off of USA and be on Peacock.
That's how NXT kind of got its start anyways. It was a network exclusive. Mm-hmm. So,
and I didn't watch.
Well, I did, but it's, I don't know if people will definitely tune in. I would probably watch on demand later. Not necessarily tune in live. I'd watch on demand. Well,
just some other quick hitters as far as network stuff. and then a couple quick announcements before we actually get into promotions and shows and stuff this week. Sunday night after the Rumble on the network, the WWE Icons series premieres with Yokozuna. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch this one. I hated Yokozuna as a kid growing up, but learning more about him the older that I've gotten and his ties into the bloodline and the family and everything that he was as far as a man and a human being. I'm excited for this one. I think this will be a real treat for those that may not know much about him besides the on-screen character. So there's that on the WWE Network.
He was the head of the table for a bit.
He was the head of the table for a while there. He definitely was.
The only man to beat Bret Hart and ended Hulkamania. Oh, he's a plus in my book.
Yeah, if you guys want to know some more about Yokozuna before this premieres, go into Conrad and Bruce Pritchard, Something to Wrestle With, and search their archives for the episode they did on Yokozuna. It was a good podcast. The next thing that I'm going to bring up, I only bring up with the preface that I'm mentioning it because of the fact that they are on the network now, and you can go back and watch all their pay-per-views and shows. But there was an announcement this week from Extreme Championship Wrestling, ECW. Breaking ECW will be making its return for the first time since 2001 and will include a 3-hour special live on social media. More details will be out soon. # Wrestling Twitter. And that comes from the Extreme Championship Wrestling Twitter account.
I think that's the same guy that tried to pull the WCW shit a few months ago.
So take it.
If it's not from at WWE.
I saved it and brought it up because I specifically thought of that exact thing whenever I saw it. I was like, well, I'm just going to mention this because, knowing that I highly doubt that is going to be something that's true, but just funny to mention it there. And then and this will tie into NXT, but Chris Hero started a podcast this week with Conrad Thompson on the ads free shows, and clips from it came out. Really good, really insightful, done really well. I didn't think I would be excited to hear Chris Hero talk about wrestling and his time at NXT and everything else, but it is really good, done really well. Conrad, again, hits it out of the ballpark, knowing how to work with each person that he does a show with and get the best out of them and draw in an audience for that specific individual. So I'll be looking forward to listening to more of that in the future as well.
Conrad is a busy man because he also announced this week that him and Kurt Angle are going to be doing a podcast starting on February 7th. Like, that's what, 7 or 8 shows that he does now?
So I think Angle, not that Something to Wrestle With is going to go away completely, but given the schedule and the time constraints, and them trying to get with Bruce and trying to record on a weekly basis just has been an issue the longer that Bruce has been back in with the WWE. So I believe, not saying that that's going to go away completely, and Conrad himself came out and said that it's not going away completely, but these other things as far as with Hero and with Angle, I think will be him taking that time that he would have been spending with Bruce and putting it into those 2 shows to add to his podcast plethora of shows, and what he does is, I mean, a true genius, true innovator as far as wrestling podcasting goes. He is the man and the Ric Flair of this world when it comes to wrestling podcasts. So he may not have been the original, but he damn sure came close to perfecting it if he hasn't perfected it. And somebody that if you're wanting to get into this space in this realm, somebody that you should definitely listen to on how he approaches his craft. All right, enough with the announcements. Let's get into the jazz of the week. What you guys watch? Where you want to start? Anything that stands out that you want to hop into right away? No silence. All right. Well, let's just start with the beginning of the week. Let's go with Impact on Tuesday nights. Good show. Another good show this week from Impact and their crew. We did get an announcement that Tommy Dreamer will be facing the Impact World Champion Rich Swann. Dreamer, the announcement came out on Dreamer's birthday, so he turned 50, and he will be getting an Impact title shot at No Surrender. I'm not mad at it. Go ahead, throw it out there. Add on to the card. We already have on that card. We have the Good Brothers against Private Party for the Impact Tag Team Championship. So, 2 title matches already set up for that card with a couple weeks to go. So, not mad at it at all. But another solid show from Impact this week on Tuesday night. Twitch streams were up around, I think, over 8,000.
It's not bad.
Yeah, not bad. And you didn't have, no Kenny Omega, no Don Callis.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've been moving along and keeping viewers at a much higher clip than previously.
Did Private Party come back this week?
They were not on the show this week, no. So I really do like the change in the commentary booth. Matt Striker and D'Lo are good together. D'Lo will get more comfortable the more he does it, but Striker to me is an improvement over Josh Matthews. Not that Matthews is horrible, but I just prefer Striker's style and the presentation that he's able to provide while he's doing commentary is more to my liking than what Josh Matthews did. So I think that's a big step up for them that'll help them going forward.
Yeah, no, I agree. Matt Striker's a great commentator. Loved him in WWE and even whenever he was doing Lucha Underground. Right, solid stuff.
Yeah. I get the Lucha vibes from him and D'Lo. Just the storytelling and drawing out different aspects, and D'Lo does a good job of pointing out things that people may not notice because he was an in-ring performer for so long. So they got off to a really good start here. But another solid show from them. Looking forward to tuning in next week and watching them. Wednesday night. Let's just jump into Wednesday night then. MLW kicked off the Wednesday Night Wars at 7:00 with MLW Fusion. Great show this week. We had Richard Holiday, Savio Vega, and Caribbean Strap match. We had ACH and Jacob Fatu. MLW continues to hit it out of the park. They brought in.
That was the strap match.
Strap match was really good, and if you weren't paying attention or don't know, but the I guess infamous NBA referee Tim Donaghy, who got busted for the I guess
fixing games,
for lack of a better word. He made his MLW debut as the referee that screwed Savio Vega from winning back the Caribbean Strap match.
Wow!
So like a throwback to the Hebner twins and Nick Patrick.
Yes. But if you don't know who he is when you're watching it, you have no that connection. Then when I was watching it, it's been so long since I've seen his face because obviously
I would know his face to see it. His face is just still in my head for some reason.
So I didn't catch it at first, and then it wasn't until the end of the match when they went to the finish, and you see how he's screwing over Savia and leaves with Richard Holiday. I'm like, is that? And I'm like, oh shit! They really pulled this out. Like, this is perfect. Like, this is done beautifully. Like, people were, I guess some people were bashing it and didn't understand why would you bring that person in, but that person is perfect for a pro wrestling angle, for a pro wrestling storyline. Like, it writes itself. He's a dirty referee. Why would you think he wouldn't help Richard Holiday? Like, come on, like
You turn shame into a gimmick.
So yeah, I mean, it was done really well. Laredo Kid and Zen Shi had a match on this card that was good. Laredo Kid is a star. For those of you that don't watch AAA, absolute star in the making. He will be getting his break in the States at some point in time for sure. So,
was that for the AAA Cruiserweight Championship this week?
Yep. It was for the AAA Cruiserweight Championship, so that was a good match. Some points, I don't know whether it was like communication or just the angles that they shot the match. At some points, you could see like the setup to stuff. So I don't know. I think it was more camera work in the shots at the time that they were shooting that particular stuff, where you saw the collaborative effort between the two instead of it being the hard hitting, fast-paced lucha libre style, So, but no, another solid show from MLW. Like to me, that is one of the more enjoyable hours of wrestling that I watch during the week. And Court Bauer continues to just put on a very strong product, good storytelling, and he really has. Since Fusion's come back, I mean, he probably has a solid, I'd say 5 to 6 different storylines going at once, and is telling them and progressing them in a really good fashion. So kudos to Court for what he's done with MLW and the talent they got there. He has some more surprises throughout the year that he's led on in interviews that he's done. So I'm excited to see what else and who else will show up in MLW as the year progresses. So that's that. Let's jump into big league stuff, even though MLW and Impact are not, small time by any means, but just get into what people come to know as far as wrestling on Wednesday nights. AEW Dynamite and NXT. Any show you guys want to start out with particularly?
Let's go with NXT.
All right. Well, go ahead. Kick it off. What you got?
Another solid show with NXT. Very, very heavily focused on the Dusty Classic for the men's and the women's again this week. What was there, like 3 or 4 matches that were just tag matches this week, I think?
Yeah, not all of them were with the Dusty Cup, but what they've done with the women's side of the Cup, they put it on Friday nights with 205 Live. They had 2 of the women's first round matches on that show there. So if
they did some of the men's too on there.
So if you don't watch that, then you're not going to see it, which kind of takes away from it. But I can see why you do that, or otherwise you'd have literally 2 hours of just tag team wrestling.
Yeah. The interesting thing this week from NXT for me was the continuation of what's the relationship between the Undisputed Era and Finn Balor. Where's this going? How is this going to head? We talked a little bit about this last night, but they showed the Imperium video that looks like they're going to be getting back together on NXT. So is that going to lead to something? Because we talked about before that, is Finn Balor going to be the guy to dethrone Walter in the UK?
Yeah, I don't know. I like the story they're telling with those 4. I don't know how long Bobby Fish is out for. Does anybody know how long he's out for?
I haven't heard anything.
Like, they've been real hush hush on that since War Games. So
yeah.
I don't know how serious it's been. He hasn't really referenced anything on his social media about it. So I don't know if that's them telling him to stay quiet, out of sight, out of mind. But I like the ending of the match when the Undisputed Era. You had O'Reilly, then Balor, then Cole, then Strong, and Balor slowly walked in to be in line with those 3, and it was just a visual. Like I said, they keep dropping these little clues with this story, whether it's a look between the 4 of them, whatever the case may be, but they keep dropping these visuals where there's no word spoken, but it's just something that the eye sees that okay, like you said, where is this going? And I'm curious as much as the next person to see how it's going to play out and what it's going to lead to, if anything.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you bring up Imperium because last year it was going to be Balor working in NXT UK to go with Walter.
Mm-hmm.
This week they threw a little curveball in as far as plans for Karrion Kross potentially. With they gave Scarlett did her little vignette segment, and then later on in the show you saw the card placed on Santos Escobar's bag. So I don't know if they're going to jump straight into Kross and Balor as what I initially thought would be the takeover match for the belt. Maybe we'll get Dunn and Balor instead, and Kross will go after Escobar. But
Dunn and Balor would be amazing.
Dunn and Balor will be really good. Really good.
That's another match of the year contender right there. Just as good as what Kyle O'Reilly and Balor had, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how much, like, with the cruiserweight title being a cruiserweight title, I don't know if Kross makes sense there because like he's not a cruiserweight, and they've been real strict on like keeping that cruiserweight title official. So
yeah,
let Buddy Murphy come back and go after Escobar. He tweeted that out, so why not let Murphy go back after that? He's not doing nothing on SmackDown. That him and Aaliyah storyline has completely dropped off the face of the earth. So I don't know if the Mysterios had him deported or put him in witness protection, but he hasn't been seen since that angle stopped.
Good. Now that flights are picking back up, maybe we can finally see Jordan Devlin and return with his cruiserweight championship too.
And that's funny that you bring that up because apparently the WWE filed some legal paperwork, not legal action, but filed legal paperwork surrounding international flights and trying to get people back over here for performers that aren't based in the United States. So maybe we'll start to see Devlin come over and Walter. It's a little odd that they're bringing Imperium here with NXT UK getting started back up and running.
Yeah.
So
because there's not going to be a lot of back and forth like there used to be right now.
Right. So you can't do that. So I mean, I guess if you're going to tell a longer story, then you're going to have to do it. And I guess they chose to do it here instead of over there. So I like the team. I like Dakota and Raquel on the women's side of things. I think they should be the ones to win the women's cup. Have them face Ember and Shotzi in the final. What'd you say? What'd you say, Jay?
Yeah.
You're cutting out. We're having technical difficulties on Jay's end. I can't hear him.
Yeah, there's definitely a delay on your end, Jason.
Yeah. So there's that. MSK continues to roll. The former Rascals, but I will always refer to them as the Rascals.
Have we found out what MSK stands for yet?
No, but to jump back to Impact real quick, the big surprise on Impact this week was the return of Trey Miguel.
Oh.
So he is back with Impact. He came out as the fourth member in the 8-man tag of the main event of Impact. So that seems to end the speculation of whether or not he will go to WWE or AEW. He showed back up at Impact on Tuesday nights with a new look, new intensity, new gear. So he's completely shed that Rascals label, and I expect big things from him to come in the upcoming year in Impact. Anything else on NXT? I thought it was an okay show. The numbers came in. The ratings were up a little bit this week for them, up about 200,000, close to it. They were a lot closer to AEW's number as far as ratings go, but when it comes to demographics, AEW still pretty much kicked the shit out of NXT on Wednesday night.
There were supposedly some technical issues with some people with TNT this week, so that could have been the reason people just switched over to NXT for the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, with NXT, it was an okay show. I mean, I'm running on like Rumble High right now. So
yeah, but that's crazy because like they have a takeover in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So for it just to feel like just an okay show, like yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
And a takeover with absolutely no marketing yet either.
Yeah.
So it's still just labeled NXT Takeover.
Right.
They've been really lax with the marketing on takeovers lately.
No marketing, no clear direction as far as matches go. I think we will get a triple threat for the women's belt at that takeover. Toni Storm, as Jason has her shirt on. Toni Storm, Mercedes Martinez, and Io for the women. That'll be a really good match. Potentially Balor and Dunn, I think you'd say. Then you'd have the 2 finals for the 2 Dusty Cups. So that's 4 matches on a takeover there. Normally takeovers are 5 matches long.
Yeah.
So there's
maybe the cruiserweight if they throw something in with that.
So there's your card there.
Yeah, normally takeovers be happening tonight, the day before Rumble.
Yep. Or at least Worlds Collide, something usually.
Yeah. So all right, let's jump over to the other side of the coin on Wednesday nights in AEW.
I ain't say nothing, but I ain't say anything, but I'm going Casey and the other one.
I'm under the bottom rope again.
Yep. All right, Dynamite this week. What do you guys think about Dynamite? The show itself. I bet you if you have not seen this, I bet you can't guess what was the highest rated segment from the show this week on Dynamite.
Was it Shaq?
Close, but no, it wasn't Shaq.
Was it Cody?
It was Cody's segment, but the highest rated part of Dynamite this week was Red Velvet's promo during that segment.
Okay.
Had the highest number.
I thought that was kind of expected for her to get added into this match. Especially after she, with the interference from Jade, however many weeks back ago that was in the back, and then, whenever they were in Britt Baker's segment 2 weeks ago.
And this was the natural fill-in for Brandy once the pregnancy announcement was made.
I've liked Red Velvet, whenever I watched her on Dark and a little bit that she's been on Dynamite. So I think this match, to me, I don't care about Cody and Shaq whatsoever, but to see what Red Velvet and Jade do in this match, to see how their stock can elevate in AEW, that's going to be what to watch here. Yeah,
I thought since we're talking about women here, I thought Britt Baker and Shayna was a really good match this week on Dynamite. Britt Baker, man, her transformation from when she first started in AEW on Dynamite to where she's at now, and I didn't realize she was only 5 years into the business until they said that on commentary this week. I thought she was in it longer, so. I mean,
felt like it.
Yeah, like it really did. Like what she has accomplished in 5 years is pretty damn impressive.
I mean, she was really doing it part-time while she was in school.
Right.
And then a lot of, she traveled a little bit, but, most of her work was done here in IWC in Elizabeth. So,
yeah. So, but I thought the women's match was good this week. The stuff with Hangman, I guess, getting another layer added to that storyline, and Matt Hardy going with this big money Matt Carney promoter manager character to take more of a backstage role. Interesting to see how that turns out and plays out here with that. I thought, obviously, what stole the night for me, and I think was the match that stole the week, was Jungle Boy and Dax from FTR, their match this week. JR said it before. He said Jungle Boy is going to be a star. I think Jungle Boy, Chris, we talked about this when we first started doing the podcast. If AEW sticks around, 10 years from now, you look at who the faces of that company are going to be as far as, main people and main foes. And we said, Jungle Boy and MJF would be the two that we would pick as far as who would be leading the fray there, that, a decade down the road. And I don't see that stopping. He had a really good showing on Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm. Jungle Boy actually kind of reminds me of when Cody Rhodes started. When Cody came in and was with, at first Bob Holly, and then did Priceless with Ted DiBiase Jr.
Legacy
with Orton, yeah. And that's kind of the comparison that I see with him. And Cody over the years, because when Cody started, he was just nothing but skin and bones, just real thin, and he's bulked up and kind of got into that. He can now be a player. You can now see him in bigger matches. And I think if Jungle Boy can kind of do that type of elevation too, I think he could be potentially a main eventer in the company.
I think what that match also did on Wednesday night for me, you see him so much with Luchasaurus, you think he's a little guy, but he was damn near as tall as Dax.
Yeah, he was.
You know what I mean? So like, I lost the he's just a small guy. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh no, he's actually like 6 foot tall and can actually get be in the ring with anybody. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, he's done it for a good while now, because they talked when he was 16, I think his dad got him involved, like doing some training. So he's been doing it for a little bit, but now he's now it's become that repetitiveness that he probably didn't have as much before.
Right. And I don't know what you guys will think about this, but I think the other match that I really enjoyed was Eddie Kingston and Lance Archer.
I fell asleep on that twice.
Lance Archer beat the shit out of Kingston that whole match.
That's what they did. They literally beat the shit out of him.
When he choke slammed him, onto the outside of the ring, and he hit his hip, I'm sitting there goes like, I don't know if that was how they planned that or if that went differently, but because I actually kind of thought the way that he was doing it, I thought he was going to choke slam right onto the mat.
Yeah.
And then like he hit the apron, I was like, ooh, that could have broken his hip right there, but they beat the shit out of each other, and with Eddie winning, I think that's just going to continue this going on more and more.
Well, they made the announcement that them two will be in a lumberjack match at Beach Break this Wednesday.
Okay.
Lance Archer can't do anything good for me. Nothing. He can help an old lady across the street. Nah.
You'd still boo that man.
Yeah.
We saw Sting vignette from Sting and Darby, and then also one from Taz and Team Taz, hyping up and promoting their street fight that'll take place at Revolution on March 7th. Would be the end of February, but they moved it based on NBA games, I believe, or NBA All-Star break.
Yeah, NBA All-Star, and then they're supposed to do March 6th, and then that got delayed.
What'd you say?
We're drawing this out till March.
Yeah.
We're gonna string this along until March.
They're supposed to do March 6th, and then I think there's a UFC fight and something else that night, and they decided to move it to Sunday the 7th instead.
Gosh.
So
to a Sunday, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they did announce that they won't move it again, so it will be the 7th, regardless of if NBA moves their All-Star game or weekend to that night. It will stay the 7th and go on. So, yeah, I mean, it is going to be a long build. I think you're going to have to. You can't have them do this type of stuff every single week. I think you let them go off air for a while, and then you bring them back closer to, 2 weeks before the show, and do a promo segment, vignettes, maybe a face off the week before, and then you have the match. So
So yeah, so which with Beach Break this upcoming Wednesday, so hopefully they probably won't be a part of that. They should keep them off TV, and then it's still 3 weeks of build up. That's a lot.
Hey, those merchandise guys, boy, they was taking some hell of a bumps. Their team bad.
I like the callback to Cage throwing the gentleman off the side of the truck like Nash did.
Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio's best moment.
Yes, exactly.
That was good.
The one time I cheered for Mysterio.
Yep, same here.
I thought Moxley's promo in the beginning of the show was good. I like him coming out and him and Phoenix and in the show. The way Omega sold that Dirty Deeds, I thought he broke his neck.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh shit, he's hurt. Like the camera shot right after that, after Mox got up, it was Omega with his face to the side, and like you couldn't tell if he was breathing or not. So like I thought it was done really well.
I agree.
That triple threat, I think, will be really good as the main event of Beach Break. I think that'll be a good showing there. And 2 other things. Obviously, we had the first match announcement from the AEW Women's #1 Contender Tournament. Serena Deeb versus Rio. So Rio is going to be on her way back. And they said the American side of the bracket. So are they splitting this up into like American side and international side?
It looks like looks like on the promo it's American and Japanese. That's what it looked like to me on the promo.
Well, that's interesting that you put Rio on the American side of the bracket.
And you're kicking two players.
She would be the Japanese side because Serena Deeb would be the American.
So each match is going to be one from each side, or are they doing an American side and a Japanese side, and then they'll meet in the finals?
The way this started, I thought it was going to be you were going to get like each match was going to be one versus each other, but yeah. We'll have to see how it goes more as more matches are announced.
All right. Well, we're dumb marks, and we really didn't pay that much attention to it. So,
they haven't really said much either.
That's true.
You take one of them out early on.
I
hate when they have big matches like in the first round.
That is the first round match.
Yeah. That's to pull you in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because the cruiserweight, they did that with Gargano and Ciampa. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they did that with the Mae Young. They always have like a couple of matches that are big ones.
And then the other thing on Dynamite, the tag team, was it Battle Royale or tag team gauntlet or whatever they're doing for the
it's gonna be a Battle Royale.
#1 contender. Did you like the tease at the end where the Bucks said, because they got inserted in the match, if they win, they can pick whoever they wanted, and they turned and looked at the Good Brothers to say, "Hey, if we win, we're gonna pick you."
Yep, there's your winner right there. That's the match. That's the match everybody want to see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is that something? Then would you add that to the potentially rumored to be Battle of the Belts that they trademarked? How we said we were going to get, champions versus champions from different promotions, and we get Kenny versus Rich Swann, we get Young Bucks versus Good Brothers. After last night, we would get Moxley versus Kenta because Moxley attacked Kenta on New Japan Strong last night, which was just sent the freaking internet into a buzz after he showed up there last night and attacked him. I wouldn't be mad at that.
No, the way they were, I think this is supposed to be whoever wins this battle royal gets the shot at Revolution. At Revolution. So maybe we start getting the tease from it now, but the payoff is at Battle of the Belts or something.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder how they're going to book that, because if the Young Bucks do win and they get to pick their opponent at Revolution, I don't know who they would pick that you could then build up a story for a payoff at Revolution.
Yeah.
And I mean, if it's a true over the top rope battle royal, Young Bucks don't need to win. Whenever you do something like this, you're not making them look weak as the champions or anything like that. Whenever it's just a fluke that they could get eliminated, so it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to win this week. But you could go with anybody really. But the interesting thing too with this is when are they going to do this Battle of the Belts? Because you now have Revolution on March 7th, and you have Double or Nothing in end of May. So are you just going to do it in April then, or like have 3 pay-per-views in a row? Or
So I think the whole Battle of the Belts thing is just fans speculating because they filed the trademark for it.
Yeah,
there's been no indication that means anything or is going to lead to anything.
I mean, Revolution could turn into it, or Double or Nothing could turn into it too.
I don't think Double. I mean, if you throw it in as the tagline to Double or Nothing, then I'm okay with it. But don't start with the WWE taglining pay-per-views. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't need 7 weeks of hearing Battle of the Belts like I heard greatest wrestling match ever.
Oh, it's coming.
Best of the best and whatever other corny.
It's going to be on the ring.
You won't see it coming.
It's going to be on Go Big.
Jesus. All right. Just some other quick notes from me before I'm done for this week in wrestling. Impact, their YouTube channel, surpassed 4 million subscribers this week. So say what you will about Impact and being dead as a promotion goes. To have over 4 million subscribers on your YouTube channel is nothing to sneeze at. I think we have 3 on our YouTube channel right now. So, granted, they've been around a lot longer than we have, but that's something to subscribe or to be impressed about. And then I know we weren't going to talk about main roster Raw and that, but I saw this from Bully Ray the other day, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it. This is coming out after Raw. He said the best stories in pro wrestling often mirror real life, and this story is pretty damn real. Love it so far. And that's into reference to Charlotte and Rick and the story with Lacey, and Charlotte cutting the promo saying, "You're going from legend to old man, and I have no problem saying it to your face." Do you guys agree with Boy Ray with this storyline, or in storylines in general? Either take is fine as far as this one in particular or storylines in general. What do you guys think?
Nah, because look at Jeff's. All Jeffs have been bad, where they imitate life. So I don't like all the ones that do that. But I didn't mind this. My favorite part was Lacey punching her in the back of the head. That was.
Was it the back of the head? Or I thought it was Charlotte turning around, Lacey catching her with the right as she turned.
I thought it was the back of the head. It might have been. It's like I'm getting Rick fatigue. That's all. That's the only thing.
Oh, what? I thought everybody liked that.
Hey. No.
I mean, if COVID wasn't going on, I wouldn't mind this story because Flair. Anytime I can see Flair, it's Flair. But with COVID, I always got the thought in the back of my mind too, like, hey, this is a 72-year-old man. Like, do we really need to be putting him out here with COVID and whatnot, considering all his health issues he's had the last few years? I do think
that was a spectacle, superstar spectacle.
I do think this week was the turning point in this storyline, and it got narrowed down to focusing on Rick and Charlotte. Different than what we've seen Rick and Charlotte before, and not so much Lacey and Charlotte. So I think Charlotte is taking the approach that Lacey's Lacey, but the real issue is with you, Dad. Like you're selling yourself out here just to sell yourself, and you're tarnishing your legend and your greatness by doing what you're doing, and you're just turning into a pathetic old man. I can rock with that story and see where it goes.
I don't have a problem with the story. The question that I had this week that didn't make sense to me out of it was, so the whole point of this was, I guess, early on in the story development is that Rick really turned on Charlotte. It wasn't that Charlotte did something. He turned on her with like probably Lacey in his ear is what we're probably going to go with.
Mhm.
But whenever Lacey came in and did that punch onto Charlotte and then like threw her into the wall, Rick tried to go over there and like see if she was okay. It's like, well, if you turned on her, why are you going to see? I know she's your daughter. I get that. He probably has that care, but it's like Lacey had to move him away to take him away from her instead of checking on her. Just like that didn't make sense to me. But
yeah, I don't mind stories coming out of real life or imitating real life. I did like the callback to, Flair showing Lacey the hammer lock or the wrist lock, the callback to Triple H and Trish. which was really good. Stephanie breaking into the locker room and Triple H's face just was classic in that.
What the hell is going on here?
So I don't mind that, but as long as it's done well, like Jay, I agree with you. The stuff with Jeff Hardy and the substance abuse issues and that, and we saw that with Scott Hall, and it's like that type of stuff. I don't need that, the whole Lita and Edge and Matt Hardy, like that real life storyline that played out. That was good. That was one of the best.
That was indie for me.
It was one of the best feuds ever.
Yeah, they kept it contained though.
Yeah. That was,
So I don't mind it. Obviously, I think storytelling and the story in general can be better if there is some real life factors into it, because I think the personalities that are involved in the story, the characters can sink their teeth into it more, because it is part of real life. So
I think the family ones do better. Like family dynamics, like when you get into like substance abuse or like marriage and stuff like that, that's a little iffy.
I mean, we seen this on SmackDown, like the whole head of the table and the whole Roman storyline, like starting out with Jay and where that is from where it began to now, like that's been great storytelling, and I've been invested in it the entire time. So,
but then the Mysterio family story has not been good.
No. But that one, I think that one turned to such shit because they continued it on for so long.
Yeah, it dragged out way too long.
There was no more momentum with that. You ran its course, and the payoff should have been the payoff, and that's the end of it. But then you tried to pump life back into it and add a love angle into it and everything else, and it just didn't.
It should have died at Raw, and then once the draft happened, it shouldn't even have been touched on SmackDown. But too much. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, but that's all I have for Bell to Bell this week for wrestling. You guys get any other quick hitters or anything you want to cover before we jump to the next segment?
Nope. Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Chug, 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 chug.
This week's Drink of the Week segment is brought to you by our newly shown fellow Lush drink expert that you see on your screens today, Vic Venom. Victor, how you doing?
How's it going, man? How's it going, fellas? How y'all been?
Good. How are you?
Good.
So this week's Drink of the Week, this is our first foray into the hard liquor realm for you guys. Obviously, we've done a lot of beers since we started the Drink of the Week segment.
21 weeks of beer.
Yep. I said we became eligible to drink alcohol, and we went from beer after 21 to hard liquor at 22. So this week we will be doing, thanks to Chris. Chris, go ahead and explain to the viewers what we're going to be doing this week on Drink of the Week.
All right, this week we are trying the Teremana Blanco Tequila. So we're going to do two things for you guys this week. We have a shot of Teremana Blanco and a margarita. And this isn't just any margarita. This is technically a Stone Cold Steve Austin Broken Skull margarita. But when Stone Cold makes his margaritas, he uses Patron Silver, and we're using the Teremana Blanco. So I thought we're gonna alter this a little bit.
Yeah,
so we're gonna call this the Mana X7. It's
Nice.
3 ounces of Teremana Blanco Tequila, an ounce and a half of triple sec, about an ounce to an ounce and a half of fresh lime juice, a little bit of agave nectar. You shake it all up, pour it into a glass over ice, and then you top it with an extra ounce of Grand Marnier.
Boy.
There is no filler in here. This is all alcohol.
I'm excited for this, and I'm also deathly afraid at the same time. But it is afternoon on a Saturday, so I legally I'm allowed to drink after noon on a daily basis. I guess we will. You want to do the margarita first, and then we'll do the shot at the end when we do our cheers and give that review.
I don't know what's everybody want to do. Everybody want to do the shot first, then the margarita, or the margarita first?
It is what it is.
Good call, man. Just change our name to Drunk Marks.
Let's do the margarita first, and then we'll raise our shots at the end when we give our toast, and we'll do those there, and then give our review of the Teremana Blanco. So, oh man, I took this lid off, and the smell of just wow. Now if I'm drinking a margarita, I prefer mine frozen, and just over ice.
Yeah, mine's been sitting for a little bit.
Yeah, it's been sitting. I did have it in the freezer for a little bit to keep it cold. But I did shake it up here. And yeah, so let's try the Mania X7. Cheers, fellas, and let's go around the horn with our reviews afterwards.
Yowie, wowie.
All right, Steve, what do you think?
I think my nose
It
hairs.
doesn't matter what you think.
There you go. Nice call.
Am I breathing fire right now?
All right. So, initial thoughts right out the gate.
I don't know. For all alcohol, I think it's actually kind of smooth.
I will agree with you there, but for me personally, I'm going to put this back in the freezer and let it get frozen a little bit, get that slushy consistency.
Or mix it with some ice later in the blender or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that just because I prefer to drink my margaritas that way. So, no, I agree with you. I think for everything that's in it, Stone Cold definitely goes hard with the recipe there. That's a hell of a recipe, but no, that is a very smooth margarita.
I am mad at it.
Not at all.
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't bad. Like I said, I'm not a liquor drinker, so it burned a little bit, but I can get down with it if it got like some slush and stuff on it for sure.
Mm-hmm. Vic Donald said yesterday after he drove home, he goes, "All I did was smell fumes the whole way home."
Yeah, I think it's relatively smooth too. I prefer mine's on the rocks, but yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I for this being the first liquor drink, I think that was a good choice there, Chris, going with the margarita here. Not a bad way to go. So we'll go around the horn. What'd you say, Jay?
Are we judging them separately?
Yeah, we're gonna judge them separately. So as we do every week on the Drink of the Week here, we rate our drinks on the 1 to 5 sumo scales. We should do it on a different weight scale, but because we're chubby kids and the sumos are in the logo, going off of that. So Vic, we'll start with you. 1 to 5 sumos, 1 being terrible, 5 being absolutely amazing. Where would you rate the Mana X7?
I'm gonna go with 4. 4 out of 5. Maybe a little bit too strong. I like my drinks pretty strong, but yeah, if I had it on the rocks, it'd be perfect. A nice little summer day drink right there.
Yeah.
Jay, what do you got?
In this form, I'm gonna go with a 4.
Okay.
Slushing would have been great.
All right, Chris.
I'm want to keep it consistent here. I'm going to go with a 4 as well. I think it's a smooth drink. You know, I've been in the mood for a really good margarita lately, so this is hitting really nice right now. I'm going to sit back probably during sports again and drink this a bit. So I actually have a double here, so that's 6 ounces of tequila in this plus everything else. So yeah,
Donald?
yeah, we'll see how one gotta go goes later.
I go with a 3.75. Again, I'm not a hardcore liquor drinker, so you know if it is something, they gotta knock me off my seat. So 3.75.
So tequila is probably my least favorite liquor to drink. There are tequila skeletons in my closet that will remain in my closet. We will not hatch those out in real life. However, with that being said, and I can get down with this. This is good. I'm gonna go with 3.75, like Donald said. If it was on the frozen side for me, I think I would have gave it a little bit more of a bump. But again, that's just how I prefer my margaritas. As far as it goes when ordering and drinking one. But yeah, I think any restaurant that would pick this up and run with it, first off, give us residuaries because we were the ones that created it. Second off, Stone Cold The Rock, you're welcome. Glad we could give you a review here. Great job with the Tequila Rock and Stone Cold. That's a hell of a margarita recipe there.
Yeah.
So next, trying to know the flavor.
So there's also the Teremana Reposado, which is aged in the oak barrels. So I have that too. So we could try that.
We could do that with the other Teremana. Yes, I think that would be well deserved to see what the difference is between the two.
Oh no, I just meant it's something like more fruity. You mean like a watermelon?
I mean, why don't you add your Crystal Light into it?
All right. Get that ready for after the shot. So, all right, are you ready? So we'll give our toast here, but we won't end the segment after the toast. We'll do the shot and then go around and give our sumo ratings and what we think of the Teremana Blanco as a shot. So, everybody, this is to good ships and wood ships and ships that sail the seas, but the best ships are friendships, and friends will always be. Salute, gentlemen.
Hey, that went down smoother than a margarita.
Yeah. So the point of his tequila, he says, is supposed to be a sipping tequila.
I mean, my stomach is on fire, but
I actually expected more of a burn, but no, that was pretty smooth.
No, that was real smooth.
Yeah.
I will say this for being tequila, that was way different than what I was expecting. If you're a tequila lover, this is by far and away a sipping tequila where you can pour it in a glass like you would, a bourbon, or a brandy, or even some people do Tito's vodka. I would definitely say you could definitely sip on that as you go about your day if that's how you prefer to drink your tequila. So 1 to 5 again, we'll rate it. Vic, start with you. What do you think of the shot of the Teremana Blanco?
I'm gonna go 4.25. I agree with you. It was really drinkable. I'm curious to see how it compares to the Reposado that the Teremana offers. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Jay.
I was going to give it a 1, just because it's tequila, but I'm gonna go with a 4 because it was like the smell had more bite than the taste.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it a 4.
Chris,
I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna give it a 4 as well. Keep it consistent with the margarita. I actually expected to be a little harsher, but no, you can sip that. You get it is what he wants it to be, is a sipping tequila.
absolutely. Donald, from a non-liquor drinker, what would you give the shot of the Teremana Blanco?
Don't let that man lie to you.
That I give it a 2.5. It's just because it's liquor, and yeah, my whole esophagus and windpipe and everything's on fire right now.
So next week,
Clean that COVID. That's what it's doing right now. Clean the COVID.
Man, gosh, it's on fire.
Next week we know to put the training wheels back on Donald and don't let him do another shot of.
Oh man, my 20s are over with.
This man runs the rope. Don't let him fool you. He runs the ropes.
So I will give the shot. I will give it a 4 as well. And for a person that is not high on tequila at all, like I said, this was smooth. No bitter shot face where you're doing that like the. No, I've tasted way worse as far as shots goes of straight up liquors, but this. Kudos to The Rock, like you said, Chris. He wanted to make it a sipping tequila, and that is definitely something you can slip on.
Jason got a shot of tequila and had a little bit of margarita. He started undressing on camera now.
The temperature just rose, man. It just got hot in here. I can't.
This is officially the worst segment ever. Like, Sky. Yeah, there you go. Like, take a drink of margarita. That's what you get. You got Jason taking off shirts. You need to drink more alcohol. I mean, that's what she said. So, guys, enjoy the margarita. Make it yourselves. We got the recipe up there. Let us know what you think. Again, shout out to Stone Cold for the mixture. Shout out to The Rock for the Blanco. Next week we will hop over onto the other side and do the
Resposado.
I was about to say Despacito, but that's a different reference. So, with that,
tequila was already kicking in.
Yeah, and that was this week's Drink of the Week, folks. All right. So let's jump into the wide world of sports this week, coming off of the shots of tequila. And if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan or a Pittsburgh sports fan in general, a shot of tequila was well worth it after the week that we had. Where do you guys want to start? All right, silence. I'll just pick up the topics then.
Depends
on margarita.
Yeah, you keep drinking over there, buddy. Just keep the buttons, okay? Stick to the buttons. So last weekend was UFC 257, McGregor and Poirier 2. I did watch the event live as it happened. It was a very good card. I believe all matches on the main event ended in a knockout. So it was very, very good fights. The overhand right seemed to be the move of the night. That put several people to sleep. Michael Chandler showed up and showed out in his UFC debut. I called that as the match as the fight was getting ready to happen. I have big expectations for Chandler in the UFC, and he showed up and showed out and put on a performance that was typical of Michael Chandler's performances. McGregor gets knocked out in the second round. He said after the fight, it's hard to be inactive in this sport and not get caught slipping. Some people agree with him. Others say he looked disinterested, lack of cardio, lack of effort. I won't ever question a man's effort when he steps into an octagon. If you're going to step into an octagon, I think you're going to give it as much effort as you can. Personally and professionally, or else you're going to get your head blown off. So good card there from the UFC. We'll see where McGregor goes, who he's up against next. Don't know if this was the result Dana was hoping for to get Khabib out of retirement, but good card, good matches, and the UFC over the next 2 months, February and March, is stacked with huge pay-per-views and huge fights. Especially the March 27th pay-per-view with Stipe and Francis Ngannou. You also got Adesanya fighting. So, yeah, if you're a UFC fan, the next 2 months coming up are going to be a really good time. Huge fights already in the first quarter of 2021. So they are loading up and getting ready to put on strong cards throughout the year, it looks. with that. So that was UFC. Anybody else watch it or got any thoughts on it?
I didn't watch it yet. It usually goes on ESPN Plus like the same month.
Yeah, so that was good there. Quickly, basketball-wise, in the world of college basketball, yesterday, passing of legendary coach, Temple coach John Chaney passed away yesterday. I believe 89 years old.
Yes.
One of the true iconic coaches in all of sports. Growing up, I was 10 or 11 years old when the infamous him storming into the Calipari press conference after the Temple UMass game and throwing chairs and telling them to come see me outside and
I'll kill you.
I'll kill you. But what he did for the sport of college basketball, he is revered and looked up to by so many people for what he did with his time and what he gave back to the sport. So a true legend and an icon in the world of college basketball passes away. Pitt played North Carolina, and then I saw today the graphic came up for North Carolina Duke, which is usually the rivalry amongst all rivalries when it comes to college sports. Duke, North Carolina. But neither one of them are ranked in the top 25 this year. Kentucky is also unranked, and that's the first time since 1961 that those three schools have not been ranked in the top 25, at least one of them. They're standard bearers in the college basketball world as far as blue blood program. So I don't know if this is just a down year for all three or what, or if this is going to be kind of a shifting of the guard. There's other teams that are up in the top, Gonzaga and Baylor and other programs. So it'll be interesting to see if this is just a one and done type of year. No pun intended there, with recruits leaving early, but having those top tier programs not being ranked. Interesting to see who out of those programs gets into the dance. If all of them get in or not, that'll be interesting moving forward.
I think it's one and done, but I think it's good for the sport, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's good for the sport, but this ain't gonna be a permanent thing.
It's not like Alabama, but you can't recruit everybody on basketball. There's only 11, 12 slots.
Yeah, you can't. But I think what this year has proved, and for a long time, Coach K specifically fought against this philosophy, was getting one and done recruits. You saw Calipari do it for years and years and years with Kentucky and had great success with it. But if you go by that philosophy and you get 2 or 3 of the top recruits every year that are going to come in, play a year, and then leave, you don't have a chance to build a team. So every year you're rolling young freshmen out there, and if those freshmen don't turn out to be who you thought they were, or they themselves are going to take a year or two to develop into something special and live up to their potential, you're going to run into years where you get this, where you have losing, close to losing records, if not a losing record, and you're out of the top 25. I think this year it just caught up to all three of those programs.
Is it how much did COVID last year play into that?
I don't know. I mean,
because they didn't have those people didn't have a full season, did they?
No, a full season, but everything got canceled during the conference tournaments.
Yeah, but I mean, high school sports-wise, that basketball, I think, in most states had just finished or was finishing up as far as that goes. So, but I mean, for those freshmen, after they're done with their high school basketball season, they normally are on campus and they're getting workouts and being around the team and all that, and that leading into this season, that really hurt them because they didn't have that typical environment to learn and get the system down. So I don't know how much
even the point right there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much Zoom meetings and that film study and everything, how much that can help you translate from high school into college as far as playing right away. To me, that's a huge deficit if you're not actually getting playing time and scrimmaging and practicing and picking up the speed of the game, the nuances of the game. That's anytime you transition to a higher level in sports. You need to get acclimated to it, to pick up on the speed, to pick up on the nuances and those things. So we'll see if they bounce back next year, if they get, the typical or what could be as close to typical year as far as recruiting and getting in the gym and working out and practicing and so on and so forth. So there's that there. I did want to bring up, Donald, this is for you. Pitt announced their 2021 football schedule, and on September 11th, so 9/11, the Pitt Panthers will travel down to good old Rocky Top to take on your Tennessee Volunteers.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're done handing out bags of money in McDonald's drive-thrus, because
that secret was never supposed to come out.
That sure as hell didn't get any top recruits. So I'm looking forward to this
down there.
Oh, with that, Damien was texting me about that, and I was like, yeah, it was like it's going to be a woodshed beating there, and Pitt's going to put it on Tennessee because Tennessee is awful.
What do you think of the new coaching hire?
What do you think about the coaching hire?
Josh Michael?
I think it's a good hire because Tennessee's offense has shown me nothing like the past 5 years, to be truthful. Ever since Josh Dobbs left, that offense has been horrible, and he's an offensive mind. So hopefully he kickstarts it.
Yeah, I think that was a good hire for them. I think he'll come in and help steady the program, and try to get it back to relevancy again. They've had a really bad time down there in Tennessee and are an afterthought in the SEC anymore, which is sad to say compared to where they were back during the former years when you had Manning and T. Martin and those teams that were national contenders on a year in, year out basis. So but yeah, I wanted to bring that up to you there.
Yeah,
and then,
so that means that next year Tennessee will be coming up here, and guess who's going to be on the 50-yard line? I'm going to be right next with the coach coaching the game.
So we will, as a fellow Pitt alum, and you as a Volunteers fan, we'll have to put a friendly Denmark's wager on the game here. We'll come up with something creative around that time, and maybe get the fans to weigh in on some of the stuff we can do as far as who loses the bet. But,
so are we going on a field trip?
Oh no, I don't travel down south.
No, I mean here.
Oh, over here, of course.
It's up here. We going on a field trip? Okay.
Yeah, up here, there's a field trip for sure.
2022, we'll be looking to get tickets for that one.
We'll be streaming live from.
We're gonna go live from the parking lot.
I have the only orange jersey on in
the official Denmark's tailgate coming 2022.
Yeah.
Heard somebody Tennessee alum were upset about T. Martin not getting interviewed, though. What do you think, though?
Man, you at least got to try to interview him. I mean, he bought you your most recent national championship, and he's an offensive mind too. So,
yeah, it's not like Martin hasn't had coaching experience. So I mean,
yeah, he's been offensive coordinator at a lot of places, USC, Kentucky.
That man can hold a clipboard.
That's a compliment right there. I think you put that on your resume.
I did see, and I saw this morning. So, as far as the NFL goes, obviously, the Super Bowl is going to be next weekend, but I believe it was Schefter reporting this morning that if they're going to move to 2-a-day testing for COVID, so once in the morning and once in the afternoon for players, if a player tests positive for COVID during the week, they are out of the game.
Yeah.
So
no if and buts, I'm just out.
I mean, it's the Super Bowl. You got to be on your P's and Q's. So if you ain't, that's your fault.
I know, but I mean, if you go, if you know, come Wednesday, and for some reason Mahomes or Brady test positive for COVID, they're out. Do you really think the NFL is gonna
They pushing
allow that?
that game.
They're not testing positive. Trust me, they're not testing positive.
They'll play that Super Bowl. They'll play that Super Bowl in June. They don't care.
I mean Mahomes just had a concussion.
Yeah, I just, I mean, I don't think anybody will test positive because I think both teams know, hey, listen, we've gotten to the point where everybody wanted to be. We made it through this shit show of a year. We've put up with all the BS and everything else. Let's bunker down, stay separated, wives, girlfriends, husbands, whatever. Stay away 1 week. Let me get to the Super Bowl, play this game, and then afterwards, whatever's whatever. But
there's always a dumbass.
There's always one. There's always one.
Yeah.
As soon as they get to the Super Bowl city, got to smuggle somebody into the hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see? Yeah. NBA has COVID sniffing dogs.
Yeah, Miami.
No.
Yeah, Miami Heat this week. They started using COVID trained sniffing dogs to as people are entering the arena, they run the canine through them. They showed this process. So they have people standing 6 feet apart in line waiting to get into the arena. A canine starts at the back of the line and walks around and sniffs each person. And then if they're good to go, they let them into the arena.
But what did COVID smell like?
Yeah. How does that happen?
Listen,
Hey man, dogs can do anything.
Exactly. Dogs have been saving people's lives and sniffing out drugs for centuries. So if they can smell COVID, however they've done it, I'm all here for
it.
Drugs got a smell to it. I don't know if viruses have smell to them.
No,
hey, they're doing it. Apparently it works, and they've used it, and they've gotten the okay to do this as far as being a protocol that will allow people to enter into the arena. So more power to the Miami Heat for thinking out of the box and coming up with a different solution besides just a thermo check. Listen, I'd rather have a dog, a dog trained COVID smelling me than getting an anal swab COVID test like they're doing over in China now. So
I don't think wrestling let these dogs again.
Vic and Steve, you guys got dogs. I mean, maybe put them to work.
Now, my two little Shih Tzu Bichons they'll get all hyped up like they're on Mountain Dew. It's like you can't get them too crack. They'll be bouncing off the walls for 17 hours straight.
Same.
So, all right. I guess with the Super Bowl being next weekend, and we can get into the game next week. Big news this week in the NFL: Deshaun Watson requesting a trade from the Houston Texans. 1, do you think he will be traded? 2, if he is traded, where do you think he will land?
I think he will be traded, and if he's not traded, I'm just going back to the James Harrison concern. Like once Friday practice is over with, oh, my shoulder hurts. Or have you ever seen 5 pick sixes in a row on Sunday?
Can you pull the levy on and sit out?
So he can.
It will cost him a lot.
So he can sit out. I believe if he misses a game, the amount that they can fine him for missing a game is $620,000. $50,000 for mini camp.
I would pay for that paycheck. Shit.
And close to $100,000 for training camp.
That's a lot.
So there is money on the table here to be lost if you're Deshaun. I'm interested to see how this plays out because for years, NFL players don't have power like NBA players. They can't force their way out of places. Le'Veon, I wouldn't say he necessarily forced his way out. He just absolutely said, all right, I want X. You're not giving me X, so I'm sitting out. Okay, that's fine. But to go in and demand a trade after you just signed a 10-year deal, that's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out.
And he has a no trade clause too. So if they want to stick him in like the outreaches of a team or something, he got a chance to deny it.
I think he will be traded too. I see the Jets are, I guess, his preferred destination, which I was kind of surprised, but maybe bigger market. But they have similar issues. So
Yeah,
I agree with you there. I think though the Jets made a really good coaching hire with Salah, and I think he will if given the time and allowed to do what he'll do, I think he has the potential to turn that organization around. Looking around, I mean, there are a few teams that have either draft capital and or players to throw some deals out there. I saw a wild proposed deal for the Steelers to send to the Texans for Deshaun. And this question came up if the Steelers reached out and said, "Hey, just us on the phone, just give it to me straight. What would it take to get Deshaun off you guys?" And if they go, whatever the pick situation goes, draft picks. And we want TJ Watt. Do you guys include TJ Watt in a trade for Deshaun Watson?
No.
I got 3 no's. Chris is drunk off tequila. So,
I just see shapes right now.
Why would you not include TJ Watt in a trade for Deshaun Watson?
Fresh off the AFC Defensive Player of the Year, he's a building block of him and Minkah Fitzpatrick. I mean, Pittsburgh's known for defense, and right now, that's what's driving this team. That's why we had 11 wins in the regular season. It wasn't because of the offense. Pittsburgh can be serviceable with a quarterback, I think.
My opinion is if you have a franchise quarterback, Deshaun Watson is a franchise quarterback for the next 10 years. I will trade TJ Watt for a franchise quarterback.
You can find another franchise quarterback. No. And they wanted 2 first-round picks.
The question, though, is it a better situation, figuring that we have to rebuild the offensive line?
But here, if you go into that situation where you trade TJ Watt, okay, and say you give him TJ Watt, you give him a first-round pick this year, first-round pick next year, and then like a third and a fifth in 2023, and they give you a 4th round back in 2023. I
just consider rebuilding because you're not going anywhere the next year.
So I would rather trust the front office brass with drafting offensive linemen and defensive players, knowing I have a franchise quarterback, regardless of how many picks I have, compared to keeping TJ Watt and trying to draft and find a quarterback.
So say you keep say you lose TJ and Bud. There's your defense altogether.
And then it'll be just like the 2017 team. You have all offense, but you have no defense.
But isn't that kind of the way the league's going? I'm actually going to switch. I'm going to agree with Steve on this one. I'm going to switch. Because you can find serviceable pass rushers, to be honest, but a franchise quarterback, dime a dozen, man.
There's some of the mock drafts that are projecting players for the Steelers to draft now in the 1st and 2nd round. Those players are all being on the defensive side of the ball are projected replacements for Bud Dupree, and you drafted Highsmith last year, who played really well as a rookie and was one of the highest rated rookies according to Pro Football Focus. So that right there, I mean, and he was a 3rd round pick. So yes, is TJ Watt a difference maker on the defensive side of the ball? Yes. Is he a perennial All-Pro? Yes. Is he, going to go down as potentially one of the best defenders of all time if he plays his whole career here? Yes. However, if I have a
So-
chance for a franchise quarterback,
He's only 25, by the way.
But you give, say you have Deshaun and you have your current running back situation. What are you doing?
I'm drafting a running back. I'm drafting a running back this year, regardless of if I have.
You think you're going to take a running back this year?
Yeah, I do. Have you taken a running back every year?
No. Do you think they're taking a running back this year?
Yeah, they need to take a running back this year, but they need not to take one in the 4th round. You gotta get.
They're taking one. They're not going to take a. They're not taking a first round running back.
I'm not necessarily saying take one in the 1st round. I think they need to draft offensive line in the 1st round. I would go, potentially Alex Leatherwood from Bama. There's a couple other offensive tackles picking at 24 that are going to be there and available that are automatically plug and plays for Villanueva, who's probably going to be gone in free agency. 2nd round is where I would look to go with running back. In that realm. I don't know if Najee Harris will fall to them in the 2nd round, given where they're picking at. But ETN's out there. There's good backs that can come in and make a difference and be the starter compared to where you're at with your running backs now. So
you'll be in the same situation. Trust me. You'll be in the same running back by committee.
James Robinson was an undrafted player from the Jaguars, and he rushed for 1,200 yards this year. Like, you can find running backs way easier than you can find quarterbacks and defensive ends. So, like,
you can't do nothing if your offensive line ain't blocking.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
So you got to get that. You got to get the O-line fixed. You have to get the O-line fixed. They got old in a hurry, and it showed this year. Listen, they're gonna have major overhauls. The cap's only gonna be about 180. They got a lot of tough decisions. There was a tweet that came out this week saying that Bud Dupree would be open to signing a 1 year, like $6 million deal, given the fact that he's coming off an ACL and that, and he responded to that with laughing emojis. I don't think Bud's coming back, honestly. Because you have to pick. Do you want Bud or do you want TJ? You're not going to be able to keep both. So Highsmith showed me enough to where I can let Bud go. But you're going to have so many more issues with people leaving and holes to fill. I don't see why. I don't think they would ever trade for Deshaun. It was just one of those things that I saw and thought it was interesting to talk because a lot of the conversation was, I wouldn't trade TJ Watt for Deshaun Watson. So let me change the question real quick. Take draft picks out of it. If it's just player for player swap, do you trade TJ Watt for Deshaun Watson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so then that should be the answer to your question whenever it's preferenced the other way. If you would go for a heads up, then you
not for picks.
Not for picks. You're losing too much with the picks.
So I got a question, kind of similar round. So they're saying J.J. Watt his future of Texas is gone. Do you think Pittsburgh would try to trade for him, considering they have both his brothers?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'd love to see it, but they shouldn't.
No, their defensive line is already established.
Yeah.
Not all of it. I mean, not the position. I mean, the position he plays, yes, but we need a defensive tackle, nose tackle. Truthfully,
Tyson played amazing. I think if you get JJ Watt,
cheap,
for cheap, and you add him into that defensive front with the rotation they could now do with him, because you wouldn't need to play JJ.
I agree.
60 snaps a game, given his years and everything else. I think that would make up and help out the secondary so much, considering you don't know where that's going to go with Mike Hilton potentially leaving. Who knows if Joe Hayden or Steve Nelson are going to stick and stay based off of their contract situations. Like, Steelers got a lot of, I think they have like 17
Edmonds got to go.
Yeah.
restricted and unrestricted free agents.
What is
17
what
is
is
a lot.
Edmonds'
Out of 22 starters, 17 are almost, not saying that all 17 are starters on both sides of the ball, but
That's a lot.
There's a lot of people that are starters on both sides of the ball that are up this year. So it's gonna be a rough time. So yeah, that was, I guess that was the big thing. There's going to be a lot of quarterback shakeup this year, which is going to be crazy because Stafford's supposedly getting traded. Who knows what Rodgers is going to do? Carson Wentz with the Eagles. Goff,
yeah.
Garoppolo with the Niners. The Niners are interesting based off of the reports. If they cut Garoppolo, it's only $2.5 million against the cap, which is nothing, right? So they were, rumors were they were offering 2 2s and 2 3s to the Lions for Stafford, which may be a done deal come the beginning of the week. Stafford in San Francisco in that offense, play action pass, and they get everybody back healthy. Like, they're right back in contention for being top contenders in the NFC. I would personally like to see him in Indianapolis, although that is an AFC foe, but put him down in Indy. It's going to be a really interesting offseason. I think there's going to be a lot to talk about. It's not going to be a dead period. I think we're going to have a lot to talk about during sports, and so on and so forth. So we'll get into Super Bowl talk next week, and cover the game, break down the game more in depth next week, give our picks who we think is going to win. Go over some of the more outside the box prop bets that come up Super Bowl time that are always interesting to bet on, whether you're on DraftKings or FanDuel, and get into that next week. So with that, does anybody got anything else for this week in sports before we move on to the end of the closing segment?
Yeah. Nobody got inducted to the Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame this year.
You know how irrelevant baseball is that I didn't even bring that up, even though that's only the 4th time it's happened in the history of the Hall of Fame voting.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, they need to get their shit together, because right now you have a bunch of players from the steroid era that are just sitting there, that nobody is going to vote in. However, the players that have retired and have become eligible since then are not Hall of Fame worthy. So you're going to come into this where you're not going to put anybody in.
Did you put Torrey Hunter in? That was my. There was 2 on there that was like questionable for me. Would you put him in?
Torrey Hunter, I say yeah. I'll put him in.
Who else?
I mean, most of them had World Series wins, so World Series rings. So I'm like, I know that's not the only criteria, but
Torrey Hunter, I would say, like, longevity wise, I haven't looked at his career numbers or what he finished at, but I mean, for him to play as long as he did, I would say,
Tim Hudson, Aramis Morales, LaTroy Hawkins, Barry Zito, AJ Burnett.
Drop me off for a sec.
Okay.
Shane Victorino, Darren Herron, Michael Cuttier, and Nick Swisher. You see any of them as first ballot Hall of Famers?
No.
None. I was thinking the same thing. None is first ballot, but some eventually will get in.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't even get in on a year that no one's getting in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, if nobody's getting in on that year, then how are they going to pan out? And then next year,
to me, it might have been the first ballot thing.
Could have been.
Like, these guys aren't worthy of first ballot induction, so that might have been a knock off the bat. But I think they may eventually get in.
But still, if you're a Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer. Who cares about? I mean, I know they care about.
There's first ballot, and then there's unanimous first ballot are big deals.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some people who slide in there.
They do put that credential on the first ballot, and especially for baseball. But I wouldn't put any of them at the first ballot. I mean, just put Pete Rose in this year.
Like this dude, LaTroy Hawkins, had more jersey swaps than he had accolades. So,
and see, even people brought up with the whole Pete Rose situation. Like he did all that stuff when he was a manager,
Yeah.
not a player, you know. And they're basing him off of all that stuff. Like base him off of a player, so put him in. And it's just and then next year is just going to get even more convoluted because David Ortiz and A-Rod is up for next year. So if you're not putting any steroid people in, those are two more you can't put in. Supposedly,
Someone's going to put him in eventually. It's just when. Like the guy that took over as the GM now, he was a prodigy of Bud Selig's. So Bud Selig didn't want anything to do with Pete Rose in there. So it's just going to continue on with that. So we just kind of have to wait and see who the next GM is and what they decide.
So Dawn, do you put Manny in?
Who?
You put Manny Ramirez in?
Manny Ramirez.
Yeah, do you put him in?
I do.
Now, do you think they didn't put that many people in just because it wasn't like say you put one person in, it'd have been more like exclusive? Do you think they went like that reason?
No.
Because like you put one person in, it's gonna be a huge ass deal.
Yeah.
Because you still got Ramirez on the card, Gary Sheffield, Andrew Jones, Kurt Schilling, which is questionable.
McGuire, yeah. You got McGuire. You got McGuire, Bonds, Clemens, Sosa. Like there's
why don't you put those players in, and then on the plaque, just acknowledge that these players played during the steroid era.
I put them all in except for Barry. I fucking hate Barry Bonds, but I put him that's a personal issue. But I put him in.
But look, if the Hall of Fame is a museum, right? Which it is, it's a museum to show of baseball history. Okay, you can't. I mean, you can, but you can't write that era of history out of the game. It happened. Everybody's seen it. It was there. It was played. However many people were on the juice were on the juice. In my eyes, certain players that even though they were on the juice, they were already Hall of Fame players. And like Barry Bonds' numbers, you can give probably 70%, 80% of the players the juice, and they're not going to end with Barry Bonds' numbers when he was off the juice, let alone when he was on it. Just put him in and acknowledge it. This whole character clause, and we got to protect the sanctity of baseball bullshit. It doesn't matter. Like go back through your character clause and look at some of the people that are in the Hall of Fame, and see how many of those players are gonna stick in the Hall of Fame.
Especially since they couldn't test so far back in the day. Like who knows what those guys were on or what they were doing or the character.
Before steroids, you were on uppers and everything else. And then, what are you going to do now with the supposed dead ball era where pitchers are throwing batting practice to people? It's like, come on, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like,
and then everything is all hearsay too. It's just like, go ahead.
You can't keep your numbers and not put them in the Hall of Fame. So if you're not putting them in the Hall of Fame, take Pete Rose's numbers away. If you're not putting them in the Hall of Fame, take Barry Bonds' numbers away.
Yeah, you're not. I mean, if you're not going to asterisk the numbers and say, hey,
then you might as well just put them in.
And see, like for this year too, since they put nobody in, this year would have been a good year just to put them all in, finally get it over with, so you don't have to talk about it anymore. Just be done with it. But no, it's just going to keep lingering. It's going to keep lingering. It's going to keep lingering. It's going to linger, and it's going to linger for our time until they're in. Either alive or dead. Like that's how it is. So this year was a perfect time to just get it, put them in, sweep it under the map. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Interesting, but
I got one thing left to we'll switch over to hockey real quick.
Yeah, I was going to bring this up too.
Yeah.
This week, the Pens GM Jim Rutherford resigned. Claims that it's not for health reasons, but personal reasons. So we'll see if anything ever comes out of the reason why he resigned. But his assistant general manager Patrick Alvin, he's going to become the interim GM and going to be working with Mario Lemieux in the meantime until a replacement can be found.
Yeah, this week in Pittsburgh sports and Pittsburgh reporters and reporting wise, there was a lot of back and forth of people trying to say their sources and what they reported were right compared to conflicting things and information. We saw this with Mark Madden and reporting T.J. Watt skipped his exit interviews and told the Steelers to send everything to Wisconsin. Other reporters came out and said that wasn't true. There was back and forth with that. Each reporter was sticking to their source. With Rutherford, same thing, conflicting reports. Each reporting sticking by their sources and what they've reported. Some say he saw the writing on the wall. He wanted to trade, a Letang or a Malkin and the whoever higher up in the organization. Not saying that it was Mario, but whoever higher up said no, and he said, "All right, I'm out." That's one report. Other report is that it was specifically due to personal reasons. Who knows? We're never going to know. I don't truly think the light will ever be shed on exactly who or what, reported what and whether or not they were correct. But it's very interesting that it happens now. And the timing of the stepping down.
Just the very beginning of the season. Like, why did this happen before the season started? But.
Hey, I mean, hell of a run he gave us whenever he took over as GM. He made trades that built the Penguins into, the fastest team on ice and led to success with winning 2 cups. So, yeah, I mean, you got kudos to the man. Thanks for giving us a run here. Like I said, this is a dark time coming up in Pittsburgh sports. Pirates suck. They're going to continue to suck. The Steelers are going to suck. The Steelers are going to suck with rebuilding mode, and the Penguins are well on their way to doing that too. Hopefully, it's not too long that we're down in the abyss, but yeah, not very bright times here in the near future. So, all right, well, that's this week in sports. Let's head to the world-renowned, world-famous, most viewed segment of the show. One got to go.
Is you sticking around?
All right, boys and girls, before we play One Gotta Go, thanks for tuning in to episode 22 of the Dumb Marks podcast. Remember that we are live every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So please subscribe, like, and follow all of our social media pages so that you can get alerts each week when we do go live. Our audio-only edition of the podcast is released every Monday to listen on demand on all your favorite podcast platforms. Subscribe to our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at DumbMarksPod, right up there. And message us during the show while you watch live.
Down below.
I got it right here. But down below, you can email us during the show at dumbmarkspod@gmail.com. So anybody got anything left to cover before we get into One Gotta Go?
No, let's hop right into it. This was thanks to everybody that turned out and showed up and viewed the One Gotta Go segment from last week. It was one of our most highly viewed segments of the show that we do here from each week, and we appreciate all the feedback and attention that it got. So moving forward, please join in, play along, let us know which one you got to go, and we will add the 5th member to the crew this week for One Gotta Go. Chris, we'll start from the bottom and work our way up. One Gotta Go this week. Oh man, Anchorman, Super Bad, The Hangover, Dumb and Dumber. One Gotta Go. Chris, what do you have?
I thought this was going to be a good one, and this was next up, and I thought this would be good because of the group that we have here this week, and Donald hates comedies. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Donald's comment's going to be this week on it.
I'll just go into the pile of Donald's that he's giving with Reese cups, grilled cheese, and now dislike of comedies.
One of my favorite movies is The Hangover, so that's not going anywhere. Superbad, I don't think holds up over time, but I still enjoy it. And Anchorman's a classic. Dumb and Dumber could go either way, but for me on this one, Dumb and Dumber's got to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is hard.
To me, Dumb and Dumber doesn't hold up as much as the other ones do, but yeah. Go ahead, Vic.
There's a lot of classic one-liners in a lot of these movies.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm actually gonna go with Hangover. I think Hangover got to go in my book.
Vic is not allowed back on the podcast. This is his only appearance. He's done. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate you. You can go join Donald in the Bad Tech Club.
Hey, after people were getting rid of PB&J last week, I don't want to hear nothing.
PB&J's trash, Vic.
All right, The Hangover. Wow. Oh man. All right, Joe, what do you got?
So the Anchorman, I love all World Fair movies, most of them. Jim Carrey too. So Anchorman, Dumb and Dumber stays. Hangover 1 was good, but then it got repetitive with 2 and 3. And I am hype is a big thing for me. If you hype something up so much, it better live up to the hype. And Superbad was just built so much, so much hype as being like the funniest thing on earth. It just fell flat for me. It was terrible. I hated it. So
who was hyping it up for you?
McLovin?
Superbad got to go.
All right, Donald, what do you got?
I only saw 2 movies on this list.
Jeez, oh man.
That's it. And the 2 movies I saw were Superbad and Hangover. And I was not impressed by both of them. So if one got to go, I don't know.
Apparently half got to go, apparently.
Yeah. If I had my choice, all of them could go. But if I had to pick, I would say Dumb and Dumber.
All right, Vic, you're back in. Donald, you're completely
comedy movies are not funny to me. There's just something about them. It's just not.
You don't understand the oxymoron you just said. Comedy movies are not funny.
They're not funny.
Somebody has to die in his movie.
Is it comedy the genre funny?
Somebody has to die horrifically in his movies. Like if he got hung up on something, skin peeled apart, he doesn't like it.
Are comedians not funny because they're comedians?
It just doesn't work for me. The whole genre just don't work. Stand up, movies, TV, it doesn't work.
All right.
I hate this game. X button in the corner. You could have left. You could have left like 5 minutes ago. Before this segment started, you could have.
I think Steve's blood pressure is starting to rise again.
Yeah, a little bit. Anchorman and Hangover for me are keepers for sure. I still walk around quoting Anchorman to this day. I laugh more and more every time I watch that movie because I pick up on something new each time. Superbad, I enjoyed watching Superbad. It was what it was. Dumb and Dumber to me is like teenage youth dumb poopy humor that just it's Jim Carrey when Jim Carrey was at his apex. And that character reminds me of like something that you would see on In Living Color. So for me, I'm gonna kick Superbad out the group. That one got to go, and I'll roll with Anchorman, Hangover, Dumb and Dumber. So that's this week's One Got to Go. You guys playing along out there, tweet the show, comment, let us know which one you got to go this week out of Anchorman, Superbad, The Hangover, Dumb and Dumber. And we will be back next week with another edition of the world-renowned, world-famous One Got to Go. And with that, gentlemen, anybody got any last final thoughts before we wrap this up with with the go home quote to end the show? Nope, nothing. All right, Vic, thanks for joining us. Appreciate the run-in.
Don't be a stranger.
All jokes aside, you guys will be seeing Vic from time to time popping up here for different stuff and different topics.
He's the Pat McAfee of this show.
Yeah.
Shows up randomly.
And believe, and anytime we want, you want to audition full time for somebody else's role on the show who doesn't watch comedies or doesn't eat peanut butter and jelly or thinks Lucy Cups is in the bottom 5 of worst Halloween candies of all time, we will gladly look at your resume and watch the tape and put that up to a serious suggestion.
Here's my headshot. Here's my resume.
I ain't going anywhere.
Hating ass motherfucker, I tell you.
I got people Facebook messaging me as we're going live right now saying Chris is lit off of that. Shout out to the Rock with the Teremana. But this week's quote, I thought it was only fitting to end this week's quote from somebody who we celebrated 1 year of his passing this week, and that's the great Kobe Bryant. Chris, this will also give you the title for this week's episode, so listen closely here. Kobe Bryant once said, "Learn to love the hate, embrace it, enjoy it. You earned it. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and everyone should have one everyone should have one about you. Haters are a good problem to have. Nobody hates the good ones. They hate the great ones." And with that, embrace the hate, love the hate, enjoy the hate. Continue to be great. Continue to rock out with us each and every Saturday. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Thanks for joining in. And until next time, you can catch us around the way.